Totally different. She would only speak to the audience when the cameras were rolling. As soon as they turned the cameras off, she would not even acknowledge the audience. She would just sit on the couch, basically.
Toxic, phony, hypocrite, liar. That's what she is.
Every time a celebrity's nice image starts to crack, one name always resurfaces: Ellen. Because when it comes to fake smiles, hidden power, and the illusion of kindness in Hollywood, she's the ultimate example. Ellen DeGeneres built her career on being the good one, the friendly host, the symbol of positivity. But behind that image was something much colder. She's living proof that even the brightest, most polished image can collapse the second people stop believing the act.
We were told from the very beginning, don't talk to Ellen, don't do this, you can't, go into her. Very stressful. We all walked on eggshells all the time.
For years, she sold the idea of being America's sweetheart, the friendly, dancing, always smiling talk show host who made kindness her brand. She wasn't wild, she wasn't edgy, she was safe. The type of celebrity your grandma would love to watch every afternoon. But that same safe comfort turned into shock when everything started to fall apart. Her reputation didn't explode overnight. It slowly cracked piece by piece until there was nothing left to fix. It all began like so many celebrity scandals do, with whispers, small stories, and no solid proof at first. Then came the flood. One person after another spoke up. People who'd worked with her, served her coffee, bumped into her backstage, or simply crossed paths at the wrong time. Each story added another crack to the picture-perfect mask, and soon the truth was impossible to ignore. It started with wild claims that sounded almost too petty to believe, like a server saying Ellen complained to management because of chipped nail polish on their hand, not her plate. That tiny detail almost cost someone their job.
I don't have to remind you there was an allegation of a toxic workplace. You had to get rid of 3 top managers here. People went after you personally. Did that have anything to do with this decision?
Well, it's certainly, if it was why I was quitting, I would have not come back this year, because everything happened, what you're talking about, is last summer. And honestly, I really did think about not coming back, because it was devastating. Because it started with me. It started with attacks on me and attacking everything that I stand for and believe in and built my career around. I am a kind person. I am a person who likes to make people happy. I am a people pleaser. This is who I am. There must be some truth to it, because it's not stopping.
Then, a Warner Brothers employee came forward saying they were fired just for politely holding an elevator door and asking, "What floor would you like?" Another staffer said Ellen snapped at them just for making eye contact. People described her vibe as cold, humiliating, and flat-out intimidating. Each story alone could have been brushed off as a misunderstanding or a case of celebrity attitude gone wrong. But it wasn't just one story. It was dozens. Different people from different years, all describing that same energy: fear, control, and pure disdain for anyone who couldn't offer her something. That happy daytime smile suddenly looked like a mask glued on too tight. Then came the real shift. Former employees from her own show started talking publicly, and that's when things got dark. They painted a picture of a toxic workplace where staff were terrified to speak up. Managers allegedly enforced silence, punished people for taking medical leave, or even grieving family losses. Some said they were told never to talk to her directly. Mistakes weren't fixed, they were punished. Kindness only existed when the cameras were rolling, and the second they stopped, so did the smiles. The whole "Be Kind" slogan wasn't just a brand. It was supposed to be a promise. And once people realized that promise was fake, everything fell apart. Suddenly, her jokes sounded empty, her laughter felt forced, her dancing looked robotic. Fans started rewatching old clips, noticing moments that once seemed funny now felt cruel.
I'm sorry, that's embarrassing and everything, but let that be a lesson to you, because you think
It is.
you think nobody's watching you, and you just need to be a good person just because you want to be a good person. You go sit in that Ellen jail over there right now. No, you'll steal stuff back there. Come here, this way. What's your sister's name?
Anna.
All right.
The backlash hit. Ellen did what so many powerful people do. She responded carefully, vaguely, and with just enough remorse to sound sincere. She apologized without taking real responsibility, blamed management, and promised change. And for a short while, it worked. The show came back, the applause returned, but the sparkle was gone. Something deep inside the brand had cracked, and this time, it wasn't going to heal. The ratings never bounced back. The audience just drifted away. The same person who once made everyone laugh was now being taken way too seriously, and not in a good way. Someone who had joked about everything suddenly became a reminder of Hollywood's hidden side. A world now being dragged into the light. Then, old clips started resurfacing. Ellen laughing it up with Diddy, joking about his infamous parties, casually admitting she knew about them. At the time, it seemed harmless, but now, it feels downright unsettling.
Is that going to be a new thing? Are you going to try to be early?
Yes, I'm trying to be early.
Are you going to be early for my party?
Yes, I am. No.
No.
You know I have to arrive fashionably late.
All right. Not too late, though.
Not too late?
Not too late, please.
What time would you like me there?
I'll tell you later.
Okay.
But not too late, because you know, once you get there, the party really starts.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
When Joe Rogan called out her silence, things exploded. He didn't throw accusations. He asked the questions everyone else was scared to say out loud. Why does Hollywood protect certain people? Why do some get destroyed while others just vanish quietly? And the biggest one, why is Ellen staying silent when her old jokes are being replayed with new meaning? Once those questions hit the public, there was no taking them back. Ellen had built her entire empire on moral authority, being the one who called others out, who preached kindness, who pushed accountability. But now, when it's her turn to face it, there's nothing. No explanations, no distancing, no clarity, just total silence. And silence, when it comes from someone powerful and rich, doesn't feel peaceful. It feels strategic. That's when the story stopped being just about one celebrity's downfall. It became a mirror for Hollywood itself, about who gets protected, who gets sacrificed, and how the most charming faces can hide the coldest control. Because silence isn't neutral when you've spent decades talking over everyone else, and we're still not even at the worst part. When you connect the dots, Ellen's exposed behavior, her sudden move out of the country, her awkward failed comeback, and her closeness to people now under heavy investigation, it starts to look impossible to ignore. Not criminal, not proven, but deeply unsettling. And in Hollywood, that kind of discomfort is dangerous because it makes people stop clapping. The second Ellen's name started being whispered in the same breath as Diddy's, the energy shifted completely. Not because anyone proved she did anything illegal, but because proximity in Hollywood is everything. Who you joke with, who you defend, and who you stay silent for. All of it becomes evidence in the only court that truly matters there, the court of public opinion. Ellen's silence wasn't quiet at all. It was deafening. When Diddy got arrested and charged, the internet did what it does best. It started digging. Old interviews, old clips, jokes that once got laughs, but suddenly looked dark and unsettling. And buried deep in those archives were moments where Ellen wasn't just casually chatting with Diddy, she was laughing about his parties, his hotel rooms, and his late-night escapades like she'd been there before.
Birthday party, am I invited?
Yes. Yes, you're definitely invited. I invite you to all my parties. You just haven't seemed to show up to
No,
any
well,
of them.
is it on the East Coast?
Yes.
Well, that's why. Why don't you have one here on the West Coast? Because I work all the time.
Okay, well, maybe I have one at your house.
Where's that? Now, what time would your party start, let's say?
Like 9:30.
Really, that early?
Yeah.
I could make that.
Yeah.
But I could think of you of starting a party at like midnight. Like, what time will it go till?
That's a different type of party, though.
Uh-huh.
It'll go from like 9:30 to like maybe 3 o'clock, 3 o'clock. And then, you know, we have the top 2 floors of the hotel.
Mm-hmm. And then it will carry on there?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Then no, I mean the after party.
Mm-hmm. No, I know about them.
Ellen, were you surprised by the allegations about P. Diddy? Did that surprise you about P. Diddy? He's been on your show many times. Have you been to his parties?
Back then, it was brushed off as harmless celebrity banter. But now, with serious allegations of trafficking, coercion, and abuse surrounding Diddy's empire, those same jokes hit completely different. One clip in particular froze people. Diddy laughing and saying the real parties start after midnight on the hotel's top floors, and Ellen just smirking like she already knew. No shock, no confusion, just familiarity. And that's exactly what made people squirm. Because once you understand what those parties are now rumored to have involved, that casual laugh doesn't sound innocent anymore. It sounds chilling. Joe Rogan became the first major voice to say what everyone was thinking.
You don't have any real personal beef with Diddy, but it's got to go down. The bits are there. I'm a gold miner. I just found some gold.
He didn't accuse Ellen of crimes, didn't claim she knew details. He just questioned the silence. Why are other celebs rushing to distance themselves, releasing statements, clarifying they had nothing to do with Diddy? while Ellen vanished completely. Why does her name suddenly feel untouchable? Rogan framed it perfectly. Hollywood protects its favorites. The ones too powerful, too polished, too connected to be called out. And that hit hard because Ellen fits that mold perfectly. She wasn't just a host, she was a gatekeeper. Someone who could make or break careers with a single look or a friendly laugh. And when someone like that goes totally silent during a storm this big, people don't think innocence. They think strategy. Then came her sudden move to the UK. Officially, it was for peace, to escape politics, to live quietly. But the timing? Brutal. She left just as Diddy's case blew up and more Hollywood names started swirling online. Fair or not, it looked like an exit plan, a clean Hollywood-style retreat. And since then, Ellen's post-show life has felt like one long act of controlled distance. No interviews, no hard questions, no accountability, just polished Instagram posts, countryside views, cute animals, and that soft retirement vibe. A rebrand built on silence. But silence doesn't work when the internet never forgets. The moment more Diddy-related details dropped, people started connecting dots that had been hiding in plain sight. Ellen's long-rumored control issues, the strict backstage rules, the way she demanded silence around her. All of it started to feel like part of the same pattern. Former employees even described something they called the Ellen stare, that look that could make a whole room freeze without her saying a single word. And when you line up that behavior next to the kind of power other figures are now accused of abusing, the parallels start to sting. Not identical, not equal, but close enough to raise serious questions that just won't go away. That's why the rumors around her spread like wildfire. Not because anyone proved them true, but because the public had already stopped believing in her. Once people think you're capable of cruelty, it doesn't take much for them to imagine worse. And Ellen, she didn't do a single thing to stop that image from growing. Even her Netflix stand-up special felt less like honesty and more like damage control. She painted herself as the victim, saying she was canceled over one harmless tweet, one misunderstanding, one blown-up moment. But audiences remembered exactly what happened, and it wasn't that simple.
Audience member on The Ellen Show is now revealing how she went from thrilled to getting really upset.
You just expect a lot when you go to meet like your idol, and then when you get disappointed, it's like such a letdown.
In 2018, Dana DiMatteo flew from Chicago to Los Angeles and was delighted to be picked out of the audience to have some fun with Ellen. But then she says she was shocked when she was briefed on the comedy bit by the producers.
They tell you, you can't be smarter, funnier than Ellen. She's the comedian and the star, not you.
Ellen's motto is be kind.
Be kind to one another.
But Dana says Ellen was actually the opposite on the day she visited.
How does the Ellen we see on TV compare to the Ellen you saw when the camera stopped rolling?
Totally different. She would only speak to the audience when the cameras were rolling. As soon as they turned the cameras off, she would not even acknowledge the audience. She would just sit on the couch, basically.
She never truly addressed the workplace accusations. No real apology to the people who lost jobs, careers, or their mental health under her leadership. Instead, she turned it into a joke, saying she was tough, that people couldn't handle honesty. For a few, that raw confidence seemed bold, but for most, it felt manipulative, like she was rewriting her own story in real time. Self-awareness isn't the same as accountability, and the audience could feel it. Half the viewers wanted to believe she had changed. The other half saw it as a carefully scripted defense, like a courtroom speech instead of a confession. And that's what separates Ellen's downfall from a simple cancellation. She didn't crash from one scandal. She eroded over years. Years of rumors, silent tension, and ignored complaints finally caught up with her. Every quiet moment started to look like intent, and when Joe Rogan brought her up again, it ripped the whole thing back open. Because he didn't just talk about Ellen, he talked about the system that made Ellen possible. A system where powerful people protect each other until they can't anymore. Where smiles hide control. Where silence is the ultimate form of currency. And when that system starts to crumble, everyone attached to it feels the heat. Ellen built her entire empire on being the one with the microphone, calling others out, teasing guests, preaching kindness like a moral badge. But now, with the mic pointed at her, she refuses to say a word. And that's exactly why people won't let it go. Even if Ellen never broke the law, her behavior shows the same arrogance that lets worse people thrive unchecked. The idea that rules don't apply to you, that you can brand kindness while outsourcing cruelty. It always ends the same way, because history proves that kind of insulation eventually cracks. Now, Ellen's legacy isn't in her hands anymore. It's being rewritten by old clips, by ex-staff stories, by podcasts digging for truth, and by a public that refuses to forget. You can't PR spin that away. Not with smiles, not with silence. And maybe that's the scariest part for her now. Not lawsuits or headlines, but irrelevance mixed with suspicion. Looks calculated, defensive, accusatory. Looks calculated, defensive, accusatory. The real question surrounding Ellen DeGeneres isn't whether she committed crimes. It's whether her rise and fall exposed something far more uncomfortable. How power, image, and silence all work together in Hollywood's perfectly polished machine. The real question isn't what Ellen did. It's how she keeps surviving while everyone else around her falls. Look at the pattern. Ellen didn't get canceled and disappear in shame. She made a flawless exit. She cashed out, sold off her million-dollar homes, packed her bags, and moved far away from the noise. No messy apologies, no accountability talks, just a clean break while everyone who once worked for her was left picking up the pieces.
Season. So, the past 18 years, you have to know, has changed my life. You all have changed my life. And I am forever grateful to all of you for watching, for laughing, for dancing, sometimes crying. This show has been the greatest experience of my life. And I owe it.
That's not luck, that's leverage. Hollywood doesn't protect people because they're kind. It protects them because they're powerful, connected, or too risky to cross. And Ellen, she spent decades becoming all three. She wasn't just a talk show host, she was a brand, a perfectly polished gatekeeper sitting right in the middle of media, advertisers, celebs, and corporate giants. She knew everyone. She knew the stories, the secrets, the whispers, the kind of insider knowledge that buys silence and protection. That's exactly why Joe Rogan's comments hit so deep. He didn't accuse her of anything. He called out the double standard. Why do some stars get dragged instantly while others are treated like fragile glass? Why does the media tiptoe around Ellen when she's been openly connected to people now facing serious allegations? The answer's simple. Fear, fear, and self-preservation. Ellen might have lost the public's love, but she still had influence. And in Hollywood, that counts for everything. But the scariest part? She also lost control of the story. For someone who built her whole empire on controlling the room, that loss must have cut deep. You could see it in those final seasons. The laughs that didn't sound real anymore. The recycled clips, the fake smiles that never reached her eyes. That wasn't burnout. That was resentment. She couldn't understand why the audience suddenly turned on her because, in her head, she had earned immunity. That's why her Netflix special came off so strange. It wasn't a triumphant comeback, it was a quiet plea, a sarcastic, sugar-coated request for forgiveness that never actually admitted guilt. She painted herself as misunderstood instead of responsible, as the victim instead of the cause. And while some fans were willing to buy that narrative, many others saw right through it. To them, the special wasn't self-aware. It was proof that Ellen still didn't get it. She wasn't apologizing. She was negotiating her image one last time, and now we get to the Diddy connection, the one thing that might end up defining how Ellen is remembered forever. Not because she's been proven guilty of anything, but because optics matter, silence matters, timing matters. When someone chooses not to speak at the exact moment when their voice could clear the air, calm people down, or create distance, the public fills in the blanks. And when that someone built their entire brand on calling others out, the silence feels almost guilty by itself. Ellen made a career out of putting people on the spot, cornering guests, teasing out secrets, pushing confessions, and laughing right through it all. But now that the spotlight's turned on her, suddenly she wants privacy. And the public, they don't take hypocrisy lightly. What makes it even more unsettling is how carefully Hollywood tiptoes around her now. The mainstream media barely touches the Diddy-Ellen overlap. Major outlets avoid it, interviews skip the topic, and the whole thing feels radioactive. And that's exactly what makes people suspicious. Because harmless rumors get denied fast and loud, but dangerous ones, those get ignored in silence.
I did.
And how was the party? I wasn't invited.
Actually, no, that's not the truth, Ellen. You were invited. Last time I was on the show, last year, you gave me a bunch of about not inviting you, but I didn't even know you wanted to be invited.
Well, who doesn't want to be invited to a party?
I didn't know you liked me.
Of course I like you. You knew I liked you. You've been on the show many times, and don't I show like?
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
But I did invite you and you didn't come, so.
This time you invited me?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
How do you know? I don't think so.
Ask Jonathan, your producer. Who said you were?
I was
he's
invited?
right there.
Why didn't I go?
I don't know.
Was it? Oh yeah, I had that thing.
The internet sees that difference instantly. It doesn't wait for court documents or press releases. It watches behavior. It studies patterns. It sees who speaks and who hides. And Ellen hiding doesn't look like peace. It looks planned. That's why her legacy feels like an unfinished sentence. There's been no real redemption arc, no heartfelt accountability, no genuine moment of reckoning. Just a long, calculated retreat. And retreat doesn't fix a reputation. It traps it in time, freezing a person in their worst chapter. Meanwhile, the world has moved on without her. Daytime TV isn't what it used to be. Influencer-driven media has replaced the old-school talk show empire she once ruled. The internet became the new stage. And Ellen? She's no longer the one holding the mic. She's the one being talked about. Audiences today don't want fake smiles or perfect polish. They want transparency. They want vulnerability. And Ellen? She stands for everything the new era is rejecting. She's the reminder of a time when power could grin for the cameras and never have to explain a thing. But that time is ending fast, and maybe that's why her story just won't fade away. Because Ellen isn't just a person anymore. She's a symbol of an entire system that people are done tolerating. So whether her name ever ends up in official reports or not, whether she ever breaks her silence about Diddy or stays quiet forever, it doesn't matter. The shift already happened. She's no longer remembered as the be kind icon. She's remembered as the exception, the one who slipped through the cracks, the one who smiled while others paid the price. And that's not a reputation you can fix with a Netflix special, a glossy documentary, or carefully filtered Instagram posts. That kind of legacy sticks. It lingers like smoke long after the fire's out. So what do you think? Is Ellen just the victim of bad timing and internet overreaction? Or does her silence reveal something deeper? Something she doesn't want to say out loud? Do you think Hollywood is still shielding her? Or is this just the calm before the next storm breaks loose? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I actually read them all. And if you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more wild breakdowns of influencer scandals, celebrity controversies, and the stories everyone else is too scared to touch. This saga definitely isn't over yet. And knowing the internet, the next twist is going to be even messier. See you in the next one.